I take refuge in the Sangha, in the community of practice, in the community of those who down through time have supported each other in following the path of the Buddha and becoming increasingly content. Able to deal with whatever life sends in our direction. And of course, the practice is so profoundly simple. It's to come home and be here now, to inhabit the body, the grounding in the body. And to notice that it breathes, to let this breath become the center of life. Which I guess it is. And when the reality of breathing in and breathing out becomes apparent, real, then the truth of thoughts in their arising and passing away becomes obvious. And so there is life and awareness of life. tend to want something important to happen. For the breathing to have some special meaning or some message. Perhaps the message is that life is happening. It doesn't have a particular meaning. It's just what is. And so we can rest in this in-breathing now. This out-breathing now. We can rest in this thought, in this mood, this emotion, with no need to change it. Simply to be awake. Each and every breath has a beginning. It comes out of nowhere. And this is the paradigm for our entire life. The present moment blossoms. we might discover that the mind is deeply quiet this morning. Only occasional thoughts, if any. There could be great equanimity and ease, tranquility, concentration. Or there could be a lot of energy and restlessness. There could be waves of anxiety. There could be the other emotions. Sadness, fear, jealousy, terror. Or the heart-mind could be filled with love and compassion. With sympathetic delight and joy. It's all possible. Just like the breath. Our primary strategy is simply to be awake. I take refuge in being awake, to knowing what's happening in this moment now, and this moment now. if we are willing to stop, if we are willing to face the discomfort of interrupting the age-old patterns, in a certain way, it's a going cold turkey on seeking completion through the sense doors, through activity, through consumption. Then what lies within us and before us is now. And it needs no amplification or diminution. It's the last place we humans look for satisfaction. And so we have the strategy of coming home to breathing. And each breath really does have a lifetime. Right now. Love and compassion are, in a certain way, synonyms or all caught up in insight and wisdom. To become wise is to become loving. To realize how short a time we have here. How difficult life is. How prone to dissolution the structures are. And so it helps perhaps to remind ourselves, I intend to love myself in this moment as much as I possibly can. I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am right now. And when I discover that I'm hurting or suffering, when I'm overrun by mood or by physical pain, when someone is disappointing us, when life is disappointing us, I aspire to hold myself in sweet compassion. It's so easy to say there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with them or life shouldn't be like this, but when life is like this, I aspire to hold myself in sweet, kind, patient, loving compassion. And when I encounter others who are behaving in ways which are unskillful, maybe downright destructive, I aspire to understand their behavior as coming out of greed, hatred, and ignorance, and to hold them in sweet compassion. Doesn't mean we let ourselves get walked all over, or doesn't mean we don't call the police. It means that we don't have to lock up our own hearts. And so we come back to this breath in this moment. May all beings everywhere, here on the earth, the beings that live in the air, in the trees between the air and the ground, may all those who walk, who slither, may all those who swim, may the bottom dwellers of the ocean share in the merits of our practice. May all beings everywhere. May those who are being born, may those humans who are being born today, and those who are dying right now, and may we take delight in our little circle of practice, coming together morning after morning, month after month. May we share in the openness of heart and safety that comes from taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Well, how comforting to be with you. I think I'm more oriented to time now. It is local time, 7:54. I was totally discombobulated when Jennifer said it was time to come out here. Well, I have two pictures I want to share with you. See if I can do this. Here it is. Here's one of them. This is where I was yesterday morning. Actually, the night before that, I skinny dipped late at night. Beach was deserted. It rained the whole time we were there almost. But I show you this because of a little story that goes with it. James, who sometimes sits with us here in the mornings, often does, came down to visit me. He lives about an hour and 2 hours north of this, which is Hollywood Beach, just south of Fort Lauderdale. And we were walking in the surf here. We were down somewhere about here and walking with up to our knees in water. And I was taking some pictures, and then I got to a certain point and I wanted to take a picture and my phone was gone. And I discovered my phone was gone. I had a hole in my left pocket and I put the phone in there unconsciously. I would seem, I never felt it. And so we went back, we used Find My iPhone, and we found out where it went dark. And James, too, he's an amazing guy. He went and got a flashlight from his car and searched for an hour in surf up to his chest, because my driver's license and credit card and 2 or 3 other, my medical care card, were all in my little phone case. So you can get through TSA if you have photographs of your ID. I had a photograph also of my passport, which I had on my iPad. And they really liked a Costco card with a picture on the back and a credit card. That was enough. And I am a TSA pre-member, so they could probably see my picture on the screen. But I was through security in 5 minutes, so that was cool. But then there's another picture I wanted to show you, which is really quite lovely. Community. Let me see, let me get it here. Oh, that's not it. Huh, I thought I had it set. Oh, yikes. Sorry about that. I meant to get this set up ahead of time. Oh, here it is. Boink. There. This was last night. Traveling with Rita and Jennifer.
Didn't come through, Robert.
Oh, you're not seeing it?
No.
Well, why not? It's your fault, Jim. Hang on, let me try again. I just think this is a beautiful photo. How about now?
There.
So here's Rita. She's 80. And my beloved Jennifer and me. Family. We really just couldn't leave Rita in that place that she was living in Florida. One really does have to supervise care homes. That was $7,200 a month for her to live there. And it was abysmal. When we got there, they were all smiles. When we left, we were appropriate and left, but we are also composing a page-long letter to the government agency that oversees such places, because it was bad. Bad. They're understaffed, of course. So, love really involves a lot of different things, doesn't it? Caring for ourselves and caring for others, people we can have responsibility for, or we can act responsibly toward. So, Jim, are there announcements we should make? I am completely out of announcement mode.
The next Saturday retreat is December 4th with
Right.
Candle,
Yeah.
and she's already had her third Sunday session, so there's nothing special on the weekend that I know of. I think that's and we canceled that or postponed that 30 the
Oh, yeah.
meeting for November 30th is been
Right.
pushed out.
Yeah.
But that's the only news from
Mhm.
Lake Wobegon or wherever we are.
I have I don't know. All I can do is laugh at this point. I between planes, I got a text from Kim, our project manager, who said, with whom I have a meeting today at 3 o'clock at the center. Um, for those of you that know the center, you remember when you leave the living room, you go up 2 steps and then you're on a little landing and then you turn left and you go through a door into the pass through and then you go through another door into the Dharma hall. Well, the first door must become a fire separation door, which is it must have a 90-minute fire rating and it must be a certain height and a certain width. In order to do that, it turned out that they had to cut through the masonry. It's a masonry wall, and so they discovered that there will be an extra $11,000 expense in order to put in that fire door. So, so if your inheritance came in, or you won the lottery, or you're feeling particularly generous, any contributions you make to the building project would be very much appreciated. We're in pretty deep now. It's amazing to me at every turn they find something new and exciting too, and we can do it. But I take heart because the center is going to be so beautiful. The living room is gorgeous. And one of the things that I'm arranging now is when we will have the dedication ceremony with the NATO family, the NATO family living room. And when we'll have our grand opening, it's probable that the grand opening will be put off at least 2 weeks as a result of this stupid door. So stay tuned. We'll be in by July the 19th of 2022 for sure. So, any questions or comments or sharing you'd like to make? Oh, I need to leave relatively soon after 8 because I am without a phone, and we got to move Rita in today, so I'm going to the AT&T store early. But being without a phone is interesting.
Interesting from this end too. I texted you to see if you were awake.
I was awake, and then I went back to bed, and then I was awake. Yeah. Yeah,
But
we really do count on them, don't we? I mean,
yeah,
they're really all right. Anybody else have anything you'd like to share of your journey through life? Comforting to be here for me.
Robert, this is Had.
Hello, Had.
Hi. I'm with my daughter-in-law and family in Queens, New York, and I wondered if you could say anything subsequent to your being in Florida about taking refuge in family, in relying on family, and being a strong family,
Mm.
how that holds in our practice.
Well, I recommend strongly against taking refuge in family. It is unstable and unworthy of refuge. However, we can love one another and help one another a lot. And we can be very committed to each other through thick and thin. But the only sensible place to take refuge is Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Because family can be gone tomorrow or this afternoon. How's that? Any help?
No, and it's what I trust in, what I create here.
I mean,
Thank you.
but you are a very devoted family person. I mean, you're there for your wife and your kids, and I mean, your heart is so open to them and theirs to you, and that's it's one of the great pleasures of life. And so why not enjoy it fully? And why not fulfill your dharma of family, which is to take care of them and to allow them to take care of you? So I don't in any way mean to demean the possibilities of pleasure and beauty and love and also learning about conflict. Families are a great place to learn about conflict. Jen and I had several very interesting little firefights on the trip that were quite informative to me. Not so much about her. I know her stuff like the back of my hand, but my own stuff. It's like, whoa, this is me this time. Yikes. So I hope all goes well. Oh, who's that? Hello.
Janine, I think, has something to say.
Hello, Janine.
I accidentally unmuted myself.
Oh. Well, hello. We're so glad to hear from you.
Yes, I've been lurking in the background without my camera for a couple of weeks now.
I see. Well, lovely to hear from you.
I'm glad to be here, Robert, and thank you for sharing your journey. I can only imagine what that's like, never having to have gone through it. But so my heart's been with you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now you might have to mute me because I'm not sure I can figure this out.
Okay,
I got it. Yeah, great.
Here you go. I had a sudden wave of sadness with your empathy and compassion there, that it is really hard taking care of Rita. Being around her in her dementia is really hard. I mean, I told this story that, she's thinking that we pulled one over on her by not telling her we were married, but she went on for half an hour with that last night before I went to bed. She just went on and on and on and on and on. Very difficult for Jennifer, who's experiencing her mother disappearing. And I had that with my mom when she had more and more strokes, and it was boy, that attachment to mother is powerful. I remember back when I was working in different settings, to be around a psychotic person is so challenging. When a person's reality testing falls apart, then it makes reality difficult to cling to in a way. Sad, hard.
Hi, Robert. It's Dave. Welcome back.
Hello, Dave.
I'm living in a moment of hyper awareness of of just the fact of moments, and how we take them for granted. How I take them for granted. I remember.
Oh, what happened?
Are you not hearing me?
Dave, hold on just a second.
Okay.
Because I didn't change anything and I can't hear you now for some reason. Please.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello. I am talking and you're not hearing.
Okay, I'm back. It's a broken
Are you
wire.
back? You
I'm
can hear
back.
me now.
It's a broken wire in my headset.
Ah,
you
okay.
Oh, Dave, you're so hard.
I'm sorry. Anyway, I remember somewhere back in my life as a lawyer, I was walking to work to catch the bus on in Irvington, and I was mugged at gunpoint.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I survived. It was an experience, but I was struck by I didn't take the guy seriously. It took me, I was actually quite calm and collected, which I thought was odd because I was getting mugged. And as I was thinking about it later, it's because there was no music. It was a dum dum dum, stick 'em up. It was just a moment. And suddenly there was a guy with a gun. And I was programmed to hear music, and suddenly, okay, I should pay attention. And I'm having I have a high school friend, lifelong, very good friend, whose husband had strokes and was somewhat disabled. And 2 nights ago, he fell and had a brain bleed. And he's, I don't know if he's still with us, but they didn't give him extra support, and it's just waiting for the rest of him to trickle away. But I'm just the fact that in any moment, we live through moments and moments and moments that we take for granted. And suddenly in this nondescript, there's no advanced music, no advance warning, something huge, life-changing, world-changing happens. There's nothing to distinguish this moment from any of the other moments. And how I get lured into security that the next moment is going to be just fine, and the next moment is going to be just fine until there's going to be a moment when somebody's gone. And then I was talking to my wife about this, and just how lucky we are. And it really I just take a moment to appreciate. I mean, here I am. I haven't had a stroke. I have my usual foibles and anxieties, but I've been incredibly lucky. And who knows, in the next 5 minutes, that could change. It just is, it's very awakening, I guess is the word that would be appropriate here. So your Rita experience sort of emphasizes my feelings about things. And somewhere out in the Atlantic, there's some starfish who's really irritated because people keep texting you.
Well, it is an iPhone 12, so it's waterproof, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert, welcome back. It's Joy.
Hi, Joy.
I just wonder if you could, I'm just mulling over the idea of taking refuge in family. And I wonder if you could explain exactly what taking refuge is. Is it, does it mean that it's incontrovertible and permanent, or that we can always rely on it?
I think the latter.
Or does it make us happy all the time, or?
Definitely not.
But yeah.
But happy is a mood. There's happy and sad. All those things that exist as polarities, which is life. We can't rely on any of them except as polarities. But there's this, all the mystical traditions point at, what about that which comes before, beneath all of those things? What about that to which the doorway to which is awareness, which is the refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I believe.
Well, could we take refuge in the laws of nature? They're permanent, and we can't ever. They're fixed. We can't break the laws of nature. They're completely reliable. Like,
I think that's the Dharma. That's refuge in the Dharma.
Mm.
The way things are.
Uh,
Gravity. As long as you're close enough to another mass like the Earth, there's gravity. If you were 100,000 miles in space, there wouldn't be gravity.
Mm.
But within the local conditions, I mean, there are local conditions like that which is born dies.
But our lives are very short compared to the life of the planet. So we could take refuge in the moon because it's permanent in our sky.
Well, how would we do that? How would that be helpful?
How would that be helpful?
That would be refuge in an idea, wouldn't it?
An idea, yeah. Well, it would be refuge in a fact of nature.
I think with nature, you have to take the whole enchilada, which includes the law of karma.
The consequences.
Actions have results.
But, and okay, so in terms of taking refuge, what does that mean for what does that mean? How does that operate? Like in my life today, how would that be an operation or something that's working?
Hang on just a second. Lori, can you mute yourself? I'm trying to and I can't. Sound is coming through oddly. Huh.
Sorry, that's a bit. Sort of conceptual. Maybe.
It's a very important question, and we might do a 10-day retreat on taking refuge. And what would it mean? And
yeah,
I think for myself, it's something that it isn't something that I do. It's something that reveals itself moment by moment. It's not like I take refuge once and I've taken refuge. That's like being born again, sort of.
Yes.
But it's more like, what shall I do in this moment? Well, I intend to wake up in this moment. I intend to wake up in this moment. I'm hurting. I intend to be present with hurting. I'm joyful. I intend to be present with joyful. I intend to be present with what is. I take refuge in what is now. So it's actually, in a way, it's a practice, in a way.
I'm thinking that when we're destabilized, we reach for something that brings us back to a feeling of standing on solid ground.
Right.
And is that the refuge?
I don't think so. I mean, I have a certain amount of unconscious refuge in having an iPhone, having a phone.
Yes.
I'm missing it.
Yes.
And I've also found it very interesting the last several days of what's my life like when I do not have that kind of connectivity. Phones are no place to take refuge because the whole system could be down in a heartbeat. Like down, gone. And then we'd have all this suffering of it. I can't find out what's happening with my child. The phone's gone. So then what would you do in that moment? Well, I take refuge in the truth of anicca. Oh yes, this is falling apart. Of course it's falling apart. It was destined to fall apart.
Well, things are falling apart.
Always. And we live in a time of profound dissolution. Yes. We live in a time of cultural collapse and environmental collapse. So there, how are those for happy thoughts? We could go down into depression, or we could yes, there's that. And how shall I surf upon today? How shall I be of service to the world? Or how can I be loving and joyful? Despite the fact that hell and her handbasket are right beside us.
Well, I think we tend to want to take refuge in concrete material things, money and houses and people.
Yeah.
But and the Dharma seems kind of invisible.
Yeah.
It was like taking refuge in being saved by Jesus. It's invisible.
Yeah. Well, and there's that refuge in the liquor store. That's a big one too.
Yeah. Anyways, I
Thanks.
just had those thoughts.
Can
Thank
always
you.
count on you for really wonderful probing questions.
Well, I lost all my faith in anything at some point, so
That's a
I
good
just
sign. Because then the seeking goes on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you feel good soon from time change.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, anybody else have something? I want to go soon to be first in line at the store so I can be back to help Rita get moved. Anybody got anything you'd like to share? Oh, anybody want to meet on Thanksgiving? Okay, I'll do it. I mean, why not? Well, shall we sing our way home? Live long and prosper, Hadley. So unmute if you wish, and may all beings receive all blessings. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
Bye,
Kathy.
Dave.
By the way, I've been meaning to make this announcement. Take a look at the new, thanks to Kat, the new RuthDennison.com. It's a brand new website for Ruth, and it's not quite done, but it's a lot there now. So, all right, and there's some new audio tape that's never been heard before. That's not right. There's some new audio of her teaching in 1979. All right, bye.
Bye, Denise.
Bye.
Bye,
Enjoy
Catherine.
your brand new app.
Yes.
phone
Bye,
13,
Had.
Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye, Tamara.
Bye, everybody.
I had.
Thank you.
Bye,
Happy
Sherry.
Thanksgiving,
Bye-bye.
everybody.